Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa Whitaker, and I serve as the advisor for the Washington Semester Program. I work with your students to ensure that they have coursework during their semester in DC that suits their own needs and interests. So I am very excited today to be joined by three of our excellent WSP alumni, Sage Taylor, Silvana Barbosa, and Sarah Coker. I'm going to ask each of them to speak a little bit about their experience in the Washington Semester Program, what your internship was like, any fun memories, and reflect a little bit on, what this experience has meant for you. So just going to go one by one. And I would love to start. Silvana, I see your mic is off, so I'm going to start with you, if that's all right.
Awesome. Good morning, and thank you for having me on the panel. I was really excited to join. So I completed the program in spring 2019, and I did my internship at the National Center for Health Research. And that experience really affirmed my interest in health and health policy, which was my major back home at my home institution at Providence College. That led me to a summer opportunity after WSP to work on Capitol Hill. And then that led me to a permanent full-time position at a local medical professional society here in DC, where I still reside today doing grassroots work. And during the program, we did a lot of site visits, which was really impactful. And then also a lot of fun things too on the side, visiting a lot of museums and also making some great friends. So overall, it was a very positive experience for me and allowed me to stay in DC and really affirmed my interest in public health.
That's great. Thank you so much, Silvana. Next, I would love to hear a little bit about your experience now, Sage Taylor.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So I did the program in summer of 2020. And as we all know, a whole lot happened in summer of 2020. So I had the honor of being the Washington Semester Program's one of their first virtual interns, which was a game changer because just about everything I have done since then has been virtual. So I interned for the NAACP's Washington Bureau, had an amazing experience then. I'll also share that next semester, my senior year, I ended up interning for a lobbying firm that I had gotten in touch with through the American University program. So, I mean, I think that's just one thing that's so important to speak to is the relationships, both personal and professional, last way beyond, that kind of contained amount of time that the program starts in. Currently, what I'm doing is, you'll have to excuse me for being on my phone. I'm actually just finalizing paperwork for my new job. Next week, I'm going to be starting as a development assistant at Lincoln Center in New York. And the way I was able to get my foot into the door with something like that was thank you very much, Adam. I was going to email you the news later, but figured I would just share it now. The way I was able to get my foot into the door for that is by having on my resume a place like a lobbying firm in DC, having the NAACP's Washington Bureau, and just really being able to honestly and truthfully communicate the people that I have been able to work with, whether it's people in congressional offices, people on the Hill, people at AU, which I mean in itself is a phenomenal institution, which leads me to the last point I'd like to make, which is that the AU program is so great, not just for the internship, but also for the classes that students are able to take at the institution. I think that in itself, do I do a lot of international relations work now? No, but I mean, some of the skills I learned in those classes, I transfer into, the smaller relationships that I engage with on a day-to-day basis. So, I am very fortunate. I have a lot of reasons to thank where I am now today, but if not for the AU program, I have no doubt that I'm not sure where I'd be, but it wouldn't be where I am now. And so I'm just very thankful for the program. And I think it's important to frame it to students that it's not just a good educational experience, but it's an essential and important professional experience that can change a life. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. And don't hesitate to reach out to my email if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Sage. And last but not least, I would love to now hear from you, Sarah, about your experience in the Washington Semester Program.
Yeah, hi, thank you so much for having me. My interest was never initially to end up in DC, but I ended up, I had a strong interest in Cuba, and that kind of led me to like, what can you do if you work on Cuba? What does working on Cuba mean? And before the Washington semester program, which I did in spring 2019, I ended up getting an internship in DC. So I had a little bit of previous DC experience and used the Washington semester program to kind of leverage that existing experience and like bridge that into my like post-graduation plans. So as I said, I did the program in spring 2019. I ended up interning at the Washington Office on Latin America, which is a very large kind of human rights in Latin America organization here in DC. It's a nonprofit. And the organization that I interned at before that partners very closely with Washington Office on Latin America. And I actually currently work at I guess I should share the name, Center for Democracy in the Americas, which is where I'd interned before. The two organizations partner very closely together. In the past few years, we've published like blueprint or roadmap is a better word, a policy roadmap together. We're also in the process of receiving a joint grant. So like transitioning to a partner organization and then coming back to the organization that I'd worked at before really gave me a chance to understand kind of the inner workings of an organization we work really closely with. And that has been hugely, hugely helpful as well. And then what else do I want to touch on? I think also more broadly, the program was really helpful in understanding like different organizations in DC, how to network, and just like, I don't know, how to communicate in DC. I found it very helpful for that. And I think one other like highlight of doing the program was that I was able to stay in touch with, again, the organization that I work at now that I had interned at before. And I was also able to collaborate with a colleague at that organization to write a paper that I presented at the Latin America conference in Pittsburgh, which was really exciting. But I'm still in touch with the people that my internship supervisors. They continue to be amazing resources. I've had them come in and talk to our current interns at the organization I work at now. So yeah, overall amazing experience. And even though I had never my initial plan was never to do the Washington semester program or end up in DC. I think even for students that just have a subject area interest, ending up in DC can be really helpful just to understand kind of the foreign policy aspect of that interest, if that makes sense. And also I'll drop my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out by email anytime.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you so much to all three of our alumni for being here and talking about your experiences. We, as staff and faculty of the Washington Semester Program, obviously are a little biased in thinking that it, is a helpful program for our students, but it's really wonderful and informative to hear you all talk about, how this experience has propelled you further after you've returned to your school and graduated from college as well. So again, thank you so much for chatting about your experiences and for being here today.